Morning, everybody. Lovely to see you, and it's nice to see we've got some sunshine this morning. I'm Laurie Peake. I'm the Artistic Director for British Textile Biennial, and I'm very pleased to see you all here at the Whitaker today. I'm not sure whether you've all been given the agenda, but the running order of the day is that we're going to have two panels before lunch, and we're going to have lunch and then a plenary session afterwards. And obviously, throughout the day, we really want your input, but particularly the plenary discussion, it's very much we're all the panel. Okay. Before we start, I just want to say some thank yous, particularly to the Whitaker for hosting this session and conversations in creativity managed by the wonderful Ed Matthews Gentle, and it's part of a whole series of wonderful conversations in creativity across the month. And again, before we start the panel discussion, I'd also like to thank the British Council, and wonder if Katia from the British Council would like to say something.
I'm Katia Stewart, and I am from the British Council, and I work in the architecture, design and fashion team along with my colleague Az, who's in the back. Our work is all about collaboration and exchange across the world, and bringing kind of designers and architects and people working in the design industry in the UK together with people around the world to do collaborative projects. So we were really happy to work again with British Textiles Biennial. This is the second time we've supported their work. We're bringing a delegation from Southeast Asia this time. And we worked with our colleagues in countries in Southeast Asia to select these wonderful people who you're going to hear from. And we're really excited to have this discussion. So thanks again for working with us.
Thank you.
Looking forward to the chat.
Cheers. Thanks.
You.
I'm going to introduce Debica Ray, who has kindly agreed to chair this discussion today. And I don't think there's many people in the country who are better qualified to lead this discussion, and Debica is a writer, a journalist, and particularly with a focus on the global south and craft cultures, etc. And Debica will give you more of a background when I pass over to her. But this panel, we were absolutely delighted that the British Council offered to support a delegation from Southeast Asia to come over this year, particularly with a focus on sustainable practices in textiles. And the people that are here, who Debica will introduce you to, are really split into makers and artists, and obviously the two are interlinked, and I'm really looking forward to seeing presentations of their practices, because they're really exciting and quite powerful, I think. And I just see in the room quite a sea of indigo this morning, and I think we're going to hear a lot about indigo today. And that really stems from this year's theme for BTB, which we started out thinking it was invention and innovation. That was our frame of reference. And particularly the idea that invention and innovation is often talked of in a 20th century context about technological innovation. You know, I think that the thing that springs to mind immediately is how Mann particularly innovated in the 20th century to bring us to this kind of technological revolution. And we were particularly amazed to find some of the really most revolutionary innovations in textile production happened in this part of the world, in the north of England, and specifically in these small towns in East Lancashire, where we're based. You know, the whole point and inspiration of BTB is this valley in East Lancashire, which really was the birthplace of the Industrial Revolution, really starting in the 18th century and then going on to the 19th century, whereby these very small towns were producing 85% of the world's cotton goods by the 1880s. And I come from here, and it really frustrates me that it's very overlooked. That fact is very overlooked. Manchester steals a lot of the thunder, but we had far more mills here and far earlier than happened in Manchester. So we really kind of established BTB to kind of explore and celebrate that heritage, which has spawned a very strong culture here, which is often overlooked. So BTB is not a sort of international art world biennial. It's very much a biennial for the people that live here, that really values their culture and their heritage and allows them to explore that. So I hope you'll be able to see more of BTB and you'll be able to see in Burnley, where which was the birthplace of the development of high-performance fabrics that enabled expeditions and pioneers across the world. You name it, Amelia Earhart, Edmund Hillary, Sterling Moss, any of those great pioneers who sought to dominate earth, sea, sky and space. They were clothed in cloth and clothing made in Burnley. And who knew? And the first polymer fibre was invented in Accrington, and we all know that went on to change the world. So that's a great exhibition at Synthetic Revolution in Accrington. But on the flip side of that, we know what a negative impact that all had. And so the other focus of BTB is to ask what innovation in textile production needs to look like in the 21st century in order to work in harmony with nature, if not heal the damage that we've done on the planet so far. And so many regenerative practices are looking back to that kind of ancient wisdom, those ancestral traditions and techniques that still reside with Indigenous people across the world. And that's really the context for this conversation. So I'm going to pass over to Debica now.
Thank you so much. You can all hear me, can't you? Welcome, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Actually, it would be good to get a sense of how many of you have actually seen some of the BTB exhibitions already, because I haven't. A bit of a show of hands. So, okay, so some people. And are you, again, show of hands, mostly textile artists who works with textiles? And anyone who works in some way with textiles in some field. Okay, good. Room of experts. So we're going to have a day of conversation and hopefully bring all of you into the conversation towards the end of the day. But before that, wanted to start with this conversation. I mean, it's a real rare privilege, I think, to bring together such an inspiring international group of people. And I'm really, grateful you invited me to moderate this day of conversation. Everyone speaking today approaches textiles from a different angle, whether it's exploring the practical considerations around making or the history and symbolism of cloth. And the fact that we're in Lancashire, as you've said, historically one of the centres of the global textile industry, makes it a really interesting context to have really important conversations about these complex histories, how we got here and where we're going. And hopefully, I think, for me, it would be great if today was an opportunity for everyone to learn from each other. You know, we've come from various parts of the world and various contexts and various disciplines. So yeah, it's very exciting to be here. So the day is structured into 3 parts. We're going to begin this morning with a panel of designers who work directly with materials, so that whether that's growing, dyeing, stitching, or otherwise, and they're thinking about how they can work with those processes and how they can be sustained and transformed in a changing world. Later, the next panel is going to be a panel of artists who use textiles as a language for exploring identity, politics, and storytelling. And then finally, we're going to bring everyone together, speakers and audience alike, for a collective conversation about what the future of textile production and practice might look like. And I'm going to try and leave a bit of time, if we can, after each of the first 2 sessions for some questions. But if you don't get a chance to speak, don't worry, keep your thoughts for the final session. And yeah, please come up with some thoughts for the final session, because I want to hear from everyone. And so let's turn to the first discussion, which looks at the material realities of making, which is the land, the skills, and the economies that underpin production. Our speakers work across Asia and Africa with long-standing textile traditions and in ways that are deeply tied to environment and community. I'm going to briefly introduce each of them, and then they're going to give a short presentation of their work, and then we'll come together for a wider discussion. So that should take us to about an hour. So we're going to start with Prach Niyomkar, who's known as Mann, a designer and indigo artist based in Thailand, known for working in contemporary art, home decor, and handcrafted textiles dyed with natural colors. In 2010, he founded Mann Craft, a brand dedicated to environmentally friendly textiles using natural indigo and seasonal plant-based dyes. And there's a little clicker here for you.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Mann, Prach Niyomkar, or you can call me Mann. I'm from Sakonnakhon, northeast of Thailand. And today, I would like to thank you, British Council, and also the British Textile Biennial for inviting us to come to share our experience here. Okay. And this is, today I would like to share my idea and my experiment with about local craft, art and craft, and this is the map of my garden. I also have my brand called Mann Craft, and what I love since I was young is to be in nature, like in the gardens and with a lot of trees and flowers. And I found my brand Mann Craft since 2010. And before that, I don't have materials like the raw material for myself to use to experiment. So before COVID, 1 year, I have another place, the land in Sakonnakhon. So I found this area around 4 acres. So it's like the dye gardens and fiber gardens, and also the living indigo museum. So my concept is about connecting, sharing, and inspiring for everyone to come to my place, to my garden, and we can share our knowledge, our wisdom, and also give inspiration and also the positive vibe to each other. And this is the spindle wall in Sakonnakhon. We have we in the Sakonnakhon basin with in the historic time about 2,000 to 3,000 years ago, people lived there, and also we found this one, the spindle walls. And this is the beginning that I would like to know more about our own root, not only for to look in the future, but we have to look back in the past and to know more about our own root. And I also try to understand how to do spinning with the ancient tool like spindle. So I try to grow my homegrown organic cotton. So we have locally we have white cotton, brown cotton, and green cotton. So I try to collect and invite school students, university students, and tourists to come. We open our craft center every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to come, and we free entrance, so they can enjoy the place and they can learn more about local craft. And what are the roots of our culture and how can we preserve and pass them on to the future generation, which is my main, how to say, the project I would like to share and to preserve and ask my friend and also to bring the local craft people, yes, to come and to share their skill and also their inspiration to other people. And this is the Indigo Loom House, which is located in the center of our garden. So I invite local weavers to come and to demonstrate, and also they can weave, and they can also do hand spinning in the traditional way. And people like the tourists and like anyone could come and to participate our activity. And this is like every Saturday and Sunday, we have people to come, and this is like the scenery in my garden. And I also grow indigo. We have in Sakonnakhon, we have Indigo ferratinctoria and Indigo ferras fruticosa, and we consider as the indigo city. And we have more than 100 communities who grow indigo and to extract as the indigo paste and to dye and produce and weave, and also to make like the garment, yes. And also, luckily, we have support by the government, the local government, and the Queen Sirikit. She's just passed away last week, which is we are very sad. Yeah. And this is I have some workshop like the workshop for tourists, like 1 or 2 hours, and workshop for people who would like to know more, like 3 to 5 days. Yeah. To do from the beginning until they can do the fermentation process. And this is like, and this is my brand, and I work with the community. This is some of my products. You can be my friend on Facebook and Instagram, Mancraft, okay? And this is my mother, yes. And I always combine with the local traditional technique with the new technique like tie-dye, printing, like wood block print, and also use the leftover fabric. Like my coat. Yeah. And also want to learn more about the potential of natural indigo. So this is on paper. Anyone would like to know more, you can come to see me. And also the vegetable tan leather. And also indigo ice cream. I invite my friend who have like ice cream shop, and they can try to grow indigo for organic way, and they extract the pigment from indigo. And this is, I try to expand the potential of indigo pigment, not only for dye fabric, but I would like to use as the big piece as the architecture. Yes. And this is my indigo loom house, which is, I use you see the blue color from this. I only use the indigo, 100% natural indigo paste, and to experiment with how we can apply on the wood. And also at the end of each year on December, I have like the craft festival on December. And this year would be 24th to 28th December, and free entrance. Anyone would come to join me. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you. By the end of that, I was just making travel plans in my head. Thank you so much. It looks like a wonderful context to work in, and we'll come back and discuss it a little more. But for now, let's now move on to Pilan Thaisuang, a former historian and archaeologist and founder of Bhukram, a handmade textile brand known for its hand-embroidered patterns and use of natural material. Bhukram's pieces tell stories inspired by the surrounding nature of Pilan's hometown in northeast Thailand.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Pilan Thaisuang. You can call me Pilan, it's easy. I'm founder of Bhukram brand. I'm from the same country as Mann. And this is my brand. My brand is natural cotton brands and hand weavings, hand weaving, hand spun, natural dyeings, and specializing hand embroidery. And this is all of our mode in our bands. It's all of our process. communicate the natural surroundings and the way of life to the fabric. This is, we work with a village in Phupan Mountain, located northeast of Thailand. This is natural resources, our natural resources. And we have the local wisdom, is generation to generations. We have the hand spun, hand weaving, gold indigo, gold cotton, and this is our knowledge. And this, now we work with villagers, about 60 to 70 members. It's like it's a 4 free time. Why it's a big group? It's I work with a small village, 5 village in the mountain. And our passions, I would like to empower the people to conserve the naturals and the traditional way of life in Bhukram. We focus in Bhukram band, people in Bhukram band first to spread out to other people. And my process, we have many processes, but I divide 4 main of the process into 4 processes. It's the first one for the process of the craftings. We have many processes for produce the products, many processes, and we try to use the local material, natural materials, and we work with the local people. Why we work with the local people? Because we would like them to recognize the benefits and value of our resources that make them protect their their resources by themselves. And we all of our produce, our process is in the local. We think if we use the local material, working in local is make us reduce the consumptions. And all of our process is focuses on the environment, conservation, and traditional way of life. This is my the process. And we forgot the process is the most important process of our band is focus to people. We believe in if we make them good hearts, they can create good work, and if they understand themselves and make the inner goods, they can take care of the outer world. I have many process, many activities with the people, many with the artisan. We have activity about like a create dialogue, space dialogue. We have we talk together. We have the exchange knowledge. We talk about the issue in the environment. We talk anything we understand ourselves, we know each other feelings. And we have a part for visit the artisans for understand their life and talk together. This part is make we have more unity. Make we have the good relationship. And we let them to explore, let them learn more about our roots and study. Because I'm an archaeologist, I try to let them know about our roots. And this part is very important. Is the activity to understand about our naturals It's like we would like to immerse in the natural for learn, and especially it's like healing us, because if we relax, if we know more about ourselves, back to myself, ourselves is make us happier. This part is like make us know more about the nature, know more about ourselves. This is we translating to the piece, our piece. This is our piece. This is our piece. Is a masterpiece. We have the many people to done this piece, and it's not only four. It's the past one is a designer of the embroidery, designer of dyeing, the designer of the weaving and terror. It's not only four, but have many. It's just one piece. It's many meaningful for art. This is an example. This is for the communicate the environment. And when we finish the product, we would like to empower the artisan to make them proud of their work, their natural. This is they are the model, and show to the consumer. This is my work, and show them this is all of our activity, open house. Mm-hmm. And it's not only we don't forget to our band. We work with each other. We work with the part or other parts of our village, like local government officials, temple, school, that we work with. If the issue involve the nature and environment, we try to create the activity, let them come join with us for survey our environment. We have many activities for make the children, for make the family make more understand our natural resources. And the part of I think this part is very important, is the communities. We always communities nature, traditional way of life for create the network. This is, I use the social media for tell the real process, real thing we do. It's just the simple. I don't decide much. I just tell the real thing to other people for communicate our work. And the open house is the time for communicate. Bhukram has one chance for give them for open our process or our process to the customer, to each other. We let them know about natural surroundings, about traditional way of life, and customer met the artisans. The time for meet the artisan. The customer know what the process, the piece done, what the process they do, what the feeling the artisan feel, and it's all of our process. They can exchange that time. And I think this time, this way for create the community is like create the network for art. It's like it's not only product to customer, but it's the artisan to customer, artisan to artisan, customer to customer. It's like a network. It's like a web network. We have the network together. We talk together. They know all of our process. They know all our artisans. We show who made the piece, all of our work. This is the customer to customer is very nice. They have the group of the member of Bhukram brand. It's like they FC of Bhukram. I think this part is like the customer is the good brand ambassador for Bhukram because they always travel. They talk about our work. They is the good for communicate to our band. And then it's not only we work our process. We have a conclusions. We learn a lot, study a lot. We know we more experience each year, and we try to conclude our knowledge, our experience to each other. I invite many people, many is the servers, professor, is the different professor, is the join together and open the village to them and know more about our work, and they give us to their opinion to us and exchange. It's like a teacher, accounting, brand marketing is like a teacher, community worker is many, maybe is 40 person come to give me opinions. And they have, this is the connection, they exchange the knowledge, we talk together. And especially the community co-worker, the community worker, they have the knowledge for improve their village. My work is, I think this for the all process we work with the material is the eco-friendly, and we try to reduce consumptions and give the empower. We try to empower the people and create the network. I think this I never said about Bhukram is the sustainability band. I think all of our process is the sustainability. Yeah. And our philosophy is that nothing is bigger than nature. We believe in hand and heart. We believe in power of humankind, and we believe we can protect the nature with our own hand. This is our concept, our main that we catch up. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much. There's so many questions that will come out of that, but we'll come back to that. Thank you so much. Next, we have Mariton Villanueva, a fashion designer and natural dye artist from the Philippines, known for using local plants and eco-printing techniques to create one-of-a-kind textiles and clothing. Her work celebrates slow fashion, sustainability, and collaboration. Oh, yeah.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mariton Villanueva, and I'm a natural dyer and a fashion artist in the Philippines. And my practice revolves primarily on using local plants, native plants in the Philippines, and natural fibers in the Philippines, and eco-printing techniques to create textiles that tell story of heritage, of land, and of culture. I started natural dyeing when I visited Damarabar Abra in Penarubia in the mountain province of the Philippines. I met the master dyer there, and he taught me to dye with local plants. And I learned that there are over 100 local plants that you can dye with in the Philippines. But most of this is color yellow. The more I learned, the more I realized that natural dyeing is very closely connected with our heritage as Filipinos, but this has been lost over time and undervalued. The Philippines has a rich textile heritage from the Inabel of Ilocos. It's not in the picture, but I will try my best to explain. The Inabel of Ilocos and the pineapple of Aklan, or the piña of Aklan, and the hinabol of Bukidnon and the tinalak in Mindanao. All of these fabrics tell story of spirituality, craft, and land. But colonization and industrialization decreased the system of making, and some indigenous tribes who used to practice weaving and natural dyeing have forgotten the practice. But through the past years, there has been a revival in the Philippines of natural dyeing. There are more communities and also younger children learning natural dyeing again, and also teenagers from the city. But also there are some problems encountered with the revival of natural dyeing in the Philippines, such as the scarcity of material because of the land development, and also the deforestation. The water quality also creates a different effect on the dyes. And this is more challenging in the rural areas of the Philippines. And also climate shifts are challenging because we all know that intense heat is in the Philippines and intense floods, and this affects the cotton plantation in the Philippines. But that is where we become more creative, so we also use pineapple fabric and abaca fabric from banana. Younger generations are learning, but there is also a challenge because some are moving away from the practice because the labor is not valued enough. They see the older generations working early morning until late at night but get paid minimum wage. And because of that, they decide not to partake in the weaving or natural dyeing tradition. But I think there is hope for that through empowering the communities, and also, again, the revival of natural dyeing and making it valued more in society. This is eco printing. I just learned this through the pandemic. This is made with mango leaves and local eucalyptus in the Philippines. And I also like to use fabrics that have been damaged by water in the factories, by flood or by storage. And then I treat it by boiling and scouring. I think that's one solution also to the textile waste and to the scarcity of material. My hope is that through natural dyeing, we bridge past and present, and we honor tradition as well as reimagine our present time. I'd like to quote my mentor in saying, it's not just about preserving traditions, but allowing them to evolve in ways that honor both people and place. That is said by my mentor, Tesoro, Rafi Tesoro. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was so interesting. And I think there's so many threads there that feel, I think, relevant for lots of contexts around the world. And it would be great to come back to that and explore some more. But thank you for now. Next and last but not least, we have Katende Godfrey, a fashion designer based in Kampala, Uganda, renowned for his innovative approach that merges creativity with social responsibility. As co-founder and CEO of IGC, a dynamic creative conglomerate, he orchestrates a variety of events, educational programs, and campaigns alongside his fashion label, IGC Fashion. Over to you.
Thank you. Yes, my name is Katende Godfrey. I am a fashion designer from a clothing brand called IGC Fashion. I am also a sustainable fashion educator. I am a country coordinator for Fashion Evolution in Uganda. I also champion a lot about celebrating indigenous materials and traditions through my work. IGC Fashion stands for Ibrahim and Godfrey's Community Fashion. It's a community-based fashion label. C is for community. Before I became a proper fashion designer, I am a self-taught fashion designer, so the first thing I learned was to make capes. So before I made proper garments, I was a peer educator, a community developer. I used to do breakdancing and hip-hop, lots of hip-hop elements. So I used to use these skills to empower communities. And when I decided to form a clothing brand, I had to put the C. So IGC Fashion, Ibrahim and Godfrey's Community Fashion. The brand is more about celebrating indigenous materials and traditions. And how I do that is working with indigenous materials like the backcloth, the cow shells, and the raffia. Sorry, my presentation is a bit messed up. I don't know why, but I'll just paint the picture through my words. So I work a lot with the indigenous material called the backcloth. Why the backcloth and what is backcloth? Backcloth is a material. It's known as olubugo in Uganda. It comes from the bark of a tree. So it's a tree skin. In making of this fabric, the tree doesn't die, but the tree can produce this fabric each year for over 70 years. I feel like it's such a sustainable fabric and for the future as well. But this is one of the oldest textiles we have on the continent of Africa. And in Uganda, at the moment, when young people or even older people look at this fabric, what they get is nightmares. They really fear to come across this fabric. So I chose to work with this fabric because there are lots of untold stories about the backcloth. So if you're wondering what's the backcloth, the jacket I'm wearing is a mix of backcloth and second-hand materials. So it's the brown fabric you see. So backcloth is, previously backcloth was embedded in our daily life in Uganda. It was a material that was worn by the kings, but was also a material which was used as the main currency. So before we got money, before in Uganda we used cow shells as money, there was a backcloth, and backcloth was the main currency for trading. The backcloth at the same time has lots of healing properties, so it was a medicinal material in Uganda. But because of industrialization and the bringing of cotton plantation in Uganda, and also religion, the backcloth faced a lot of challenges. And right now, the only thing that people are remembering about backcloth is witchcraft and Satanism. So I use fashion and my practices to create awareness and educate about this fabric for people of Uganda to celebrate it again, but also for the future designers to know that this is a very strong alternative material that we can use for the sustainable future. At IGC Fashion, I not only do make garments, so I also create events. I create events, I organize panel talks around these topics of what are the sustainable materials. But always I like to bring in why we should celebrate these indigenous materials. I also work with cowshells, I work with raffia, more for that purpose because I feel like in Uganda or Africa at large, we are copying a lot the things that come from the West and abandoning the things which are coming from our grounds. So I think it's very powerful for designers and creatives to source locally, but also source their inspirations from their communities. I think that's how we are going to develop our creative economy at large. So I do those things through IGC Fashion. I also have programs that I run, different programs. So beyond creating events, sustainable fashion events, I also create community development programs. I have this program called the Fashion Cypher. And the Fashion Cypher, that's the event that I started with before I formed IGC Fashion. And the Fashion Cypher is mainly going in communities and teaching young people the art of fashion, hoping that these skills can help them to empower themselves and earn a living. As a self-taught fashion designer, or as many of the creatives in Uganda, we face a lot of challenges around financial sustainability. And me, how I grew up or how I've sustained myself up to now, I used fashion. So I feel like it's just good to also look at those people who might use fashion as a tool to empower themselves. So I do that through the Fashion Cypher. But also the Fashion Cypher, as I teach those skills, I also preach and inspire people to work with indigenous materials and traditions. So what have I done about these campaigns of celebrating cultures and traditions? At this time, I'm under a project. I'm working with Salford Slow Fashion, Natalie and Jesse. I see you over there. We've made this project called the Woven Worlds, and this project has meant to explore the impact of cotton to backcloth, but also the impact of colonial waste to indigenous materials. So on so doing, we've also explored ways on how we can upgrade or innovate on this fabric. So we use like different techniques, and Natalie, she dyed cotton using the backcloth, and this is something that I've never seen before, and I only saw it when she practiced it. And we've also like mixed backcloth with second-hand materials. Some of them we got them from Oxfam. Others we got them from one of the biggest second-hand market in Uganda, Owino Market. So since you guys are here, you get a chance to take a look on this collaboration that we did. And I feel like for the indigenous materials and the traditional materials that we have, we need to innovate on them, but also innovate consciously, because we want to keep our practices friendly with Mother Nature and the environment. And that's it. That's IGC Fashion, and that's what I'm doing at the moment. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. I've just realized that we have a lot of show and tell props here to pass around the room, so maybe we should do that so people can have a look at what's on the table while we're having a conversation. Is that okay? Yeah. You don't need to pass your coat around. People can admire it from afar.
And the hat.
And the hat, yeah. So, yeah, shall we maybe do that? And then we can... so we have basically... Would you like to pass yours around or not? No. Maybe people can have a look later. Yeah. so we only have about 20 minutes, so it's a relief that we've got this afternoon session where we can dive a bit deeper. And I think what was interesting to me is that it feels, when you hear about all of your work, that it's so inspiring, and it gives the impression that craft is thriving, which is wonderful, and it feels optimistic. But I think we all know that the reality is more complicated than that around the world. You know, these traditions are facing a lot of challenges, and I think, Mariton, you referenced a lot of those when you were talking. So what I'd like to do is maybe speak to you all a bit about the kind of key challenges that underpin your work. And I think maybe to start with you, because you already referenced a few of them, how do you think, is there a kind of effort across with other people doing similar work to you that you work with to address some of these challenges? Is that happening, and is it possible?
I think there are some efforts being made, like non-government organizations in the Philippines supporting weavers, and again, funding projects to teach weavers natural dyeing again. The practice of natural dyeing has been forgotten by most of the weavers in the Philippines. So there are some funding by some organizations.
Yeah, but it's not enough to teach, is it? Because you talked about the fact that people don't want to do these practices because they're not well paid enough, and there's different types of work that people could be doing that's better for their livelihood. How is there what can be done about that? I know it's a huge question, but are there some specific examples you've seen of things being done to change that?
Right now, we're trying to work on it, but I think there is more to be valued as labor, and as there is more to be valued in.
Is it partly to do with, I suppose there's two sides, there's the purchasing, the buying, the consumer, and then there's the making. So maybe is it to do with pricing? Because it's very difficult. Pricing is a difficult question, isn't it? Because you price too high, it becomes inaccessible. You price too low, and the people who are making things don't get paid well. But
that is the challenge, because we want to value the work, but if you price it too high, it is difficult to purchase. And if you price it too low, the weavers or the dyers will not get the value they deserve.
Yeah. Katende, I wonder whether you could tell us a bit about your experience, because you run a brand and you're also working with craft. So what are the major challenges that you're finding that underpin the work that you do?
I think one of the main challenges is finding a market for the products. That's really a big challenge, because also fashion designer made clothes in Uganda, like not so many people are so familiar with that kind of industry. So many people will see a fashion designer as someone who only mends clothes, because we have lots of people who mend clothes, but not the ones who make the clothes. So you feel like you can only get a few clients. Personally, I usually sell a lot to the expats or to the tourists who are coming in the country, which is not so good for sustainability of the brand. But again, we have to create a lot of campaign about the products that we make and make awareness why the people in the country should buy these things, because I also feel like many people are not so aware. For me, when Ugandans see my garments, the first thing they think, that's not a Ugandan who's making that, So that's why also it's important for me to work with these indigenous.
Why do you think why does that happen?
I think it's a quality, because in Uganda, we believe anything quality is coming from outside. So if they see a local fashion brand making good things, they won't give it to Uganda. So you have to also create awareness that these things can be made in Uganda. And I feel like not so many people are aware of that. So that's another thing that we have to talk about as a country and also make people proud of what's locally made.
Is cost a consideration as well for you? Is it more expensive? Does bark cloth end up being more expensive than other materials when in the end product?
Yeah, bark cloth is more expensive than other materials in Uganda. Yes, it is.
So that's a difficult thing to then also, no wonder you have to sell internationally to make it sustainable, or?
Yeah, I disagree with that. I think the value of things is not on the price that people pay, but what people know about what you make and the value you put in the garments. So as much as we create that value, which is beyond the prices, then people buy these things, because I feel like that's how I'm selling my pieces.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Man, maybe you could tell us a bit about some of the challenges that you have noticed. It looks like you're running something that's very thriving. People are coming, but then what is I think we discussed on the call that we all had about kind of the impact of tourism and how demand can also be a challenge in itself. Could you explain a bit about that more as well?
I think one of the most challenging is about the younger generation to carry on the skill, like how to spin cotton and how to weave like traditional technique. Yeah, that's why, and also how to dye with natural indigo, like the organic vat. Yes, without using the strong chemical. Yeah, and that's why I opened my craft center for the visitor, like tourists to come, and the space and the process will communicate, will tell them about the details. Yes, and also another thing is about the climate change. Like in Sakonnakhon, we are one of the biggest. I mean the many village. We are the biggest indigo paste producer. Like more than 50 tons a year. Yes, like but this year is like the raining too much. Yes, too much rain, and yes, in Thailand, and it's quite difficult, and the amount of the paste is decreased. Yes, and also it's difficult to grow some of the dye plants. Yes, but we still have to apply and to plan for the next year. Yes.
How has it continued for so long to be such a center of indigo production when so many other traditions like that in other places have maybe disappeared?
We have like a local ethnic group in Sakonnakhon. Like we have 6 local ethnic group, and also the traditional knowledge, the local wisdom from generation to generation. And also we, as I mentioned, that we are so lucky that we have supported from the Queen's Foundation and also the local government that to support about it, and also the university and school to make like the study research more about the natural indigo dye. And also we start from the planting the seeds until the making like the color fastness of the natural indigo dye, because in the past we have like the problem about color fast. Yes, its color come very easily, and also when we know more about how to dye with natural indigo and how to make it more like the color fastness, like in the good quality, it's and also to extract the indigo paste, which is quite, it's like skill and it's like science. Sometimes it's more spiritual, you know. Yes, yeah, it's sometimes it's difficult to tell, but that's why we need to have workshop to bring people to investigate themselves, to observe themselves.
Yeah, and something that we talked about earlier on the call that we all had, is this the idea that once you start to increase demand and scaling happens, then that introduces maybe the kind of incentive to put more chemicals into the process. Can you talk a bit about that?
Okay. Yes, I think we have to focus on balance if about the sustainable. Yes, if it's too much demand, if too much how to say the indigo paste or textile, or too much order from the customer. Okay. Yes, the market. We will rush. We will speed up the process, so the quality will not good. So we have to how to say, to communicate with the weavers and our team that we need to consider about the quality for the standard, the base, and also the that how we can keep our customer. Yeah.
Thank you. Pilan, maybe you could tell us a little bit about the challenges that you've seen. You said you've had your brand for 10 years, is it? Or no, yeah, more than 10
years.
Yeah. So over that time, you must have kind of got to grips with a lot of the challenges in continuing to sustain these practices. Could you tell us the main ones?
Yeah, I think my challenge is like empower people. It's like when I inspire someone, like I inspire myself, it's very hard. I would like them to know about more experience in our area. Is that if they have time to me, it's okay. But if because our people is like they have a main work like field like agriculture. They have family for take care. If they have time to me, is we can concentrate, we can improve and develop. And is we have many members, but it's not the same. It's different. It's the different level, different. They get different. Like someone, if we talk, if they join with us, is like easy to develop. But some people work with me, just send the piece, send the when they finish the work to me is already. But it's hard to me for make the group unity. Is why we have many activity. I just if you don't join with us, we come to their home. It's 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 challenge us for develop our group.
Yeah. So what I suppose is interesting is that people always talk about scaling up when we're talking about craft practices, and there's always this like, I suppose people think that scaling up is just a good thing. You must become bigger and bigger. Yeah. Do you think it's necessarily desirable to be bigger or keep growing?
Yeah, I try to focus about our group and deeper. I think if we change our mind, it's just small scale is okay and can change and communicate to other people. If in the first 2 years, I try to explain. I try to explain our group and give the work to many people. Is hard for control, but is when I recognize, I try to improve our experience, develop anything. Is I think the skills choose small and deeper and talk. Yep. Yeah.
Well, this is really resonating with me because we have a project called Homegrown Homespun, where over the past 5 years we've taken a derelict piece of land in the middle of Blackburn town centre that was used for fly tipping and rough sleeping, and it was a real blight in the neighbourhood. So we worked with volunteers in the community to tidy it up and then plant a field of flax. And we were absolutely dumbfounded how well it grew, how well the flax grew. It's just 100 days of growth, and then you have the harvest. So we've now got 3 harvests, and we are we run spinning and weaving schools on Saturdays in the local market for local people. And the idea is, to test whether a cottage industry making linen is possible, because you know, the reason why we are here today and BTB here is here because of the incredible skills base that existed in Lancashire from time immemorial. You know, we have two major things here. One is sheep, and the other is rain. So we have lots of water, lots of sheep. And so, as I say, from time immemorial, this was the base for fabric production in the UK because we had the wool, but we also had rain, and somehow the climate suits flax growing. Flax grows very easily. So we always had an amazing linen and wool industry at cottage industry levels. So people, peasants, so poor people living on the land in barns, in cottages, would weave linen and wool, and then that got sold so that you'd have merchant people coming with pack ponies to these remote fields, picking up the pieces of cloth, taking it to piece halls, where bigger buildings, where merchants from London would come and buy the cloth. And by the time colonisation and industrialisation happened, the government, the powers that be, knew that there was that skills base here. They knew that there was fast-flowing water rivers here to drive water wheels and then steam engines to mechanise the whole process. And we have moist air, which makes it perfect for the spinning of cotton fibre in mechanised looms. You need it to be moist. But as we know, the industry peaked and then declined, and so there's practically no spinning and weaving going on here. So the idea was that we could, if flax grew so easily, we could go back to that because it was supplanted by cotton. You know, it was the colonial project, the mad colonial project that ignored all the local resources to make profit by planting cotton in the southern states of America and the Caribbean, and I'm sure Lucille will refer to that in the next panel, and by shipping labour from Africa to those plantations for free labour. That was the economic model. It relied on free enslaved labour and the suppression of the cotton industry in the Indian subcontinent, of which Uthra could tell us more about. And so it was a completely and utterly false economic model, and which completely erased our indigenous cultural traditions and skills. So our little flax field in Blackburn is trying to see if we can't revive that as a cottage industry. So we've made one garment over 3 harvests, and that's on show in Blackburn and part of our materials library exhibition, which is in the same space as Godfrey's wonderful bark cloth collection, and we've just got this one garment, which is a kurta, South Asian traditional tunic, but it took years, you know, for us to grow, to spin, to weave, and so it's absolutely not economically viable in terms of money. But I think I've just been really inspired by all of you, because we have to go deeper, and we have to tap in to people's desire to make and to revive that skill, and see if some kind of economic model can't come out of that desire.
Thank you. That's opened up a whole set of questions that hopefully we'll take carry on towards the end of the day. And I'm conscious someone had a question, but we're actually already over time. I think we could carry on if we're going.
Yeah, we can do one.
The end, or?
Yeah, well, we could take some now, and I think also for the break, people could just get up and get coffee and tea, and we can carry on with the second panel without an actual break.
Yeah, if we
You know,
want that,
but I
yeah.
think take that
If
question.
nobody wants a break. Yes.
Sorry, I'm very keen about this. For having visited Thailand for many years and being a long-term kind of work exchange partner with Mann, it's a society that I understand very well. I think we're missing a couple of variables here in our discussion. One is that Thailand was never colonized, and Thailand never colonized anybody. And therefore, there is a long-term kind of working wisdom, we call it wisdom there. So the link that you don't seem to have, for example, in the Philippines with the knowledge is very present in Thailand. And the fact that we are looking at people who still have the tradition and they still have the knowledge and the skills, that's never been stopped at any point. And I see it when I'm over to visit. But also the fact that the workers who work with both projects, their income is a supplementary income, not a first income. So you're comparing your project where you're trying to make a living out of reviving natural dyes and doing it in a hard way because you don't know where to go for the knowledge, with farmers who are growing rice as a livelihood, and they're making cloth and thread and embroidery as a supplementary income. It's like miles away from one another. It's very difficult to compare, I think. So in our question, we're not quite addressing some of the real issues. I think you really need to bring the colonization into the discussion, whether it's a happy subject or not, because it kind of changes the complete scene. So it wasn't a question, but I feel like in the discussion, I'm really enjoying the discussion, but there's a bit that's missing somewhere where we're not comparing like for like. So when we are talking about, do you want to expand? Do you have more farmers that want to learn skills and be part of the process? Probably you do. And will they earn enough to justify their time? They probably will, because they don't want to rely on this income to eat. So that's all I wanted to say.
Can you just say who you are briefly?
I'm sorry?
Can you just briefly say who you are?
Oh, sorry. My name's Elizabeth Colshaw. I'm a textile artist. I live in Scotland. I grow a dye garden there. I grow an indigo wood and a yellow dye plant garden in the Botanical Garden in Glasgow. I've been communicating with Mann since 2019. I visit his garden yearly and we do some exchange. And the little dyed fabric that we're circulating is a project we did last December together.
Thank you. Do either of you want to, does anyone want to respond to that or add to that?
I think first up, I suppose, there is, for me, there's kind of an underlying assumption that this whole conversation, and in fact the whole of BTB, is within, seen through the prism of colonisation. You know, we are where we are because of colonisation and the suppression of indigenous cultures, or not, as it, you know, but the fact is that in the world that we're living in, there's a kind of global economy that still has those commercial pressures. Whatever your history may have been, we're kind of all in the same bag at the moment.
Anything to add from anyone else? What would you like to do about time? Because we're going to have to.
Shall we have a 10-minute break? What time are we on now?
1:45.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that okay?
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.